Switzerland and Geneva are known for being very expensive. I get asked about the prices here all the time. So here it goes. What do I spend in Geneva in a day? Hope you enjoy. I wake up, I open my eyes in beautiful Geneva, Switzerland. Without doing anything, I have already spent 100 francs, just because I have a roof over my head and I live in Geneva, Switzerland. Surprised? Well, let me break it down for you. I pay 2,250 francs of rent. Well, there's two of us for a couple. I divide all the monthly expenses by an average month that has 30.5 days. This gives us 74 francs, or if you're in a couple and you split it in half, 37 francs per head. Then there's electricity, which is actually surprisingly cheap in Switzerland. My last bill was 40 francs per 2 months. I divide by the average amount of days in 2 months, which gives me 66 cents, or if you divide it by 2 and a couple, 33 cents per day. Then you have health insurance. Even though I have the cheapest possible insurance with Ashura, for my age group, I pay 330 francs per month, roughly 11 francs per day. I also have one of the cheapest possible mobile plans with Lebara, 30 francs per month, roughly 1 franc per day. Then you have compulsory insurances for the apartment, which is needed when you rent. That's, in my case, 400 francs per year. If I divide it by the amount of days in the year and the fact that we're splitting as a couple, that gives us 1 franc 10 per day, or 55 cents as a couple. And there you go, this sums up to 100 francs. I just woke up, I literally didn't do anything. I think it's time to get out of bed and start earning some money, because I'm already 100 francs behind. Okay, so let's start this day. Usually I wake up too late to have any kind of breakfast at home, so I just grab a croissant, usually at Cup. Before we start, we're still gonna drop by to Starbucks. I don't do it every day, but sometimes I want to treat myself to a super productive start of the day. I feel like this is one of those days. Just for the record, the chocolate buns were 360, which means if I have them 20 working days every day, this gives 72 francs in a month. If we divide it by the 30.5 for an average month, that's 35 francs per day. Then you have the coffee. Well, they tried. Better luck next time. The coffee was 7.70. Which is 53.9 francs per month. So now let's divide by the 30.5 days in a month. That's on average 176 per day. Okay guys, it's almost 9 o'clock, let's get to work. Okay guys, it's noon, it's time for lunch. Lunchtime in Geneva. Let's start with sushi. Although I have most of my lunches I prepare at home nowadays, they're going to be included in the price of groceries, which we're going to talk about a little bit later. I still feel that the majority of people who work in the city center still eat lunch out. So just for the sake of clarity, I'm going to take you out lunch with me so you can see what the prices of this are like in Geneva. Basically, depending if you take your lunch from a supermarket like Coop or you go to a restaurant, lunch will cost you somewhere between, let's say, 15 in a supermarket to 35, so let's say 25 francs on average per day. As I said, I don't really do it every day. I think it's healthier to actually cook it yourself. But let's say if you would do it yourself, that would be 20 times 25 for the average, so like 500 per month. Okay, so that was a good lunch. As you can see here, it was 21.60, so let's say on the cheaper side. Oh, finally, after a hard days of work, it's time for dinner. Dinners we mostly eat at home. We sometimes go out, but that's not very often. As I mentioned earlier, we actually also cook most of our lunches at home. It's just, I think, healthier this way, and you have more of a choice on what you're gonna eat. We shop in France. I think that's just so much more convenient. The choice is also slightly bigger, the shops are bigger, and it's much cheaper. So we spend roughly 500 francs per month, and that's for the two of us as a couple. So this includes basically breakfasts, lunches, and dinners for the two of us, both in the weekday and the weekends. So if you divide it by the theoretical 30.5 days and an average month, that's roughly 8.2 francs per person per day for the food. And finally, after a long day of work, it's time to take the dog out for a walk. Gigi, say hi. Thank God that's free in Geneva. Well, not really. We have to pay dog insurance, civil liability insurance for the dog, and also tax. But let's skip that as a detail. It's Thursday, so that's a great time in Geneva to grab a drink in the city. Did you see the medical helicopter? Pretty cool, there's a landing spot there. And there you go, guys. So these were the drinks in one of our favorite wine places in Geneva, Vin Rouge, Vin Blanc. We spent like 100 francs for the three of us, so 30 per head. A wine is like 12 francs. I think you can also have a beer for 8 around the city, so depending on how much you drink, you will know how to expense. Of course, this calculation provides a lot of simplifications and it omits a lot of things. We don't talk about shopping, we don't talk about cosmetics. Calculation is done for a single, it's gonna of course look different for a couple. I also assume making groceries in France, and as you can see, I rather liberally mix between lunches out and groceries. The aim was rather to show you day-to-day prices, but I think I also provided you with all the information that you will need to make a calculation like this for your own. Of course, there are some points which we didn't cover. I have another video on the expenses of an average month in Geneva, and it's going to be linked right here. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to ask. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to stay in touch. And yeah, I better get some sleep. As you can see, living in Geneva is not cheap. I better get some sleep and work to pay off those expenses. See you in the next one.